So the reason I chose hospice and bereavement volunteering, and I really did start with bereavement first, is because I was a volunteer at Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto. My husband and I had experienced a personal loss, and coming through that loss, it really became clear that one of the best ways for us to even heal ourselves was to reach out to others. And also for the person that we lost to create a bit of legacy through our work. So that's how it began. And I found the bereavement work very meaningful, meeting wonderful people and really making a difference, not only in their lives, but in our lives too. So naturally, when I became aware of Circle of Care, it just seemed obvious for me to continue the bereavement work. The training was excellent, and the contacts I made with our clients really told me I was in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. So then from there, they offered me the option of adding to my training to do hospice care. And I thought, this is perfect because both of my parents had passed away. Piers' parents had passed away, my husband's parents, and I was very familiar with end of life. And again, I felt I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. I was comfortable in that environment. It's not for everyone. But you know, when people are struggling, sometimes they need an outsider. Family members are tired, healthcare workers are overworked and overtaxed. Chaplains also overworked and overtaxed. So you need that person to come in afresh, ready to go, ready to listen, ready to help. And so in my own personal experience, I saw that that was beneficial. And then in my personal experience doing it for others, I could see that I was making a difference. So that's the reason that I started in hospice and in bereavement work. I was assigned a client, and she was in one of those assisted living facilities. She was a client who not only was a hospice patient, but she also was a Holocaust survivor. These are unique patients because they've had a lot of trauma in life. And you know, when you've suffered early in life, you sometimes wonder, have I not suffered enough? And you know, old age is pretty hard, and losing one's ability to function and feel useful is very challenging. So I would honestly say we had wonderful sessions, but these were deep conversations, and her stories about her life in Siberia, where a family shared one pair of shoes. I mean, we can't even begin to imagine what life was like. But you know, for all of her sadness, she was an essentially joyful person. She loved life, she loved people. And our visits were always very pleasant. In fact, I always tried to come in time so that within an hour or so, we'd be downstairs for dinner with her friends at the table. So we had a little bit like the view or the talk, you know. And so it was very pleasant. And I think it really was a highlight, not only of her week, but mine too. So one day I came to visit her, and I could see when I came into the room, she wasn't facing the door, which was unusual, and her head was sort of down, not to sleep, but you could tell she was depressed, like something had just brought her down. And, you know, we spoke, and I could see she was just, for whatever reason, just in a bad place. Now, my job is not to fix. That's not our job. It's to listen and support. I did that too. But you know what? After a while, I thought, we've just got to break this. We've just got to break this. She had a wonderful caregiver who had a lot of sense of style. And so I thought to myself, I have my cell phone. We have this lovely caregiver. And my client had some interesting clothes and props and things just because she always dressed for dinner. And you know what? We did a mini fashion show. We put scarves on, hats on, a little flower, a little jewelry, changed her up a few different times. And there I was clicking with my camera like we were in a fashion shoot. And you know what? Her mood totally lifted. And much like a child who's, let's say, having a tantrum or a bad day or is bored, sometimes, you know, you want a diversion. This was a perfect diversion. So by the time we finished with all of this clicking and snapping and photographs, she really was in a much better place. And then, of course, we went to our lovely dinner. I sent the photos to her relatives. And by the way, they were just so very loving of her and very supportive of her. And they really loved the photos to see her in such a good mood. It really was her true self, what I would call her true self. So this was memorable to me because, number one, it's a fantastic memory. But number two, because it just shows if you can be creative and think outside the box, you know, not everything has to be very deep and in the head and philosophical. I mean, there's all kinds of time for that. But this was just an opportunity to have a little lightness and a little levity. And it went a long way. And it created a beautiful memory for us too. So I always think back on that because, you know, yeah, it's dark times. We are entering dark spaces, intimate spaces when we visit with people. They're sick, they may be in their end of life chapter, they may have a lot of concerns and worries, it is a dark time, but there's also a time for levity and for joy too. So love can come in a few different formats. Support can come in more than one format. And so that's why I choose that as an example, a positive example, and there are many, of my volunteer journey, certainly in hospice. So what I'd like people to know is, I know the instinct to stand back when you see people are struggling or in trouble. You assume they have family, you assume they have friends, you assume they have support, and they may have all of that. And you may say to yourself, it's not my place, they're not my family, they're not my friends. But in fact, I can tell you from personal experience, it's for the mere fact that you're not family and you're not a friend that makes you the perfect candidate to step in and to help. And so I would say to anyone who's thinking about bereavement or hospice volunteering, it's a sacred space, it's an intimate space, and there's something very profound about it and meaningful. And you really do get a lot of satisfaction, and they derive a lot of satisfaction. It's very mutual. The beauty of Circle of Care is, number one, they train you very well. It's a long time training. You learn a lot. You learn from a variety of people. Number two, the people at Circle of Care are there to support you when they give you your assignment and throughout the assignment, if you have any questions or any concerns. Number three, you can choose if you are ready or not ready, or if you need to, carry on and maybe be with someone else, partner with someone else, or be in let's say, a bereavement group or a hospice type group. So the point being, when you're ready and if you're ready, you can go forward. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and like I said, you receive a lot of support. And I think, you will find it very meaningful. Think of a time you were in the hospital, let's say, before even an operation, and someone came in and was just kind to you, right? A nurse, a doctor, some support worker, and you thought, my God, isn't it nice that they care? Isn't it nice that they think of me? I don't even know who they are. They're like an angel sent from above. Well, you have that chance to be that angel for somebody else. You're a stranger to them, and yet you're here to do something good. Who wouldn't want to do something good for somebody else?